Luke, you obviously know what Justin has told you guys. You obviously know what he told us yesterday. In your estimation, what's the prescription for him in not thinking so much and cutting it loose the way he wants to?
No, I think that's part of the development part that we're all in the middle of, right? We talk about him getting better every single week, and I think there's so many things that you can reflect on and look at that you see that. And he's talking about, Flus talks about the 4 to 6 plays a game that could change the game each week, and I think there's that, those moments where when he feels like when we reflect on it, the next day as we're reviewing the film, that he feels like, man, I could be that difference. And I think that's what he's reflecting on in those moments when he's talking like that. And I think that's our job to give him those opportunities to do it well and make him feel like he's comfortable in doing that. And I think he's starting to get more comfortable with the guys he's playing with, right? New group of guys, and he's starting to do a much better job with that as well.
How do you balance giving him enough information, too much information, not enough? Like when he's talking about almost feeling like it's information overload in games and he has to kind of process some of that out, how do you as a coach know when to dial back versus when to, like, he needs to know this to complete this play?
No, I think more of what he's reflecting on is just the process of the game. So when you play a guy like Coach Bowles, who's going to present a lot of different things, there's a lot of different procedures that you have to handle, pre-snap before you get to go play the play, and then and that's where he's done a fabulous job. Like from this point from last year to now, like he handles that pre-snap stuff so well, and like he's not getting caught off guard by stuff, and then you take it from that point on and go play the play. I think that just comes from playing. It comes from the experience. I think it's the job of the coach to give them the information, let them absorb it, and then go out and practice it and try it and do it in each week. And I think each week he handles it much better each and every week since the time that we've got here. But it doesn't matter if you're coaching the quarterback or you're coaching the offensive line or tight end. That is the key of the coach. That's being able to diagnose what kind of person that you're coaching, that their learning style. You have to dial into that, and I think that's important with every single guy in that room.
You guys always talk about moving forward. Everything is advancing, moving forward. But part of that is understanding where things went wrong and what needs to be corrected. What, in hindsight, do you wish you would have handled differently with Justin?
In what regard?
Well, he's saying that he is essentially has been overcoached and has too much in his head. When you look back at the offseason and things like that, training camp, what would you have, in hindsight, wanted to handle differently with him?
I don't think. I don't think. I'm not gonna make an assumption of what he said. I'm gonna reflect on what he actually said to me and what he said to our group and everything like that. So, as far as that goes, as Flus said, it's an open book. I mean, that relationship, the partnership that Flus and Justin has is amazing. And to be honest with you, Justin, myself, and Coach Tinoco, it's even better. And so that part of it is an everlasting journey, and we're going to continue to grind through that. We believe in the process that we're going through. Justin believes in the process that we're going through, and we're just going to keep working and sticking together, and it's going to keep getting better just as it has. And I know that the result isn't what we all want. I get that, and that sometimes puts added pressure on people. But we believe in it, and we're going to stick to it, and that's what we've talked about as an offensive unit.
So you guys don't make changes, I guess, based on what he said yesterday? Like, is it you just keep going with the plan, or do you augment based on some of the things that he said to us and apparently said to you guys as well?
We always reflect on what we talk about together. Always. That will never change. It always has been and always will be. But to say what goes on with whatever happens in here and that's discussions that him and Flus can have about how to handle situations and stuff. But we've always have and always will. Communication is critical, and it starts with Coach Flus, and it trickles down to me, and then it goes to the rest of the offensive unit.
You mentioned that when you're not winning games, pressure ratchets up. How have you seen him handle it? And I mean, this isn't a normal week.
It's not?
Yeah. Have you seen it affect him as his coach? What do you do to try to make sure he's good by Sunday?
No. Someone's getting a little alert up here. With Justin, no. I mean, he had a great day of practice yesterday, and I think as far as that part of it goes, I think it totally caught him off guard. And I think you saw his passion and reaction when we got back in from the practice field and how he felt. Because he's such a guy of high character and is so passionate, and he wants to win as much as anybody in the building. But it's more important for him to be a man of character. And I think that part of it, you know, the fact that he felt like it got challenged bothered him more than anything else. And so our relationship, our partnership is outstanding. I think that part of it, we're going to continue to grow. I have no questions about that.
Did he come to you and Andrew and address that before he came to talk to us in the locker room?
No. The only time I ever found out about anything was after all of it had happened. So I didn't know about it until, I guess he went two different times, right? Yeah, so the first time I spoke to him about any of that stuff was after he handled both of those situations.
What were your conversations like with him after Sunday's game? And he told the media yesterday that he felt like he was playing robotic. Do you agree with that assessment? Like what he said yesterday surprised you? Paul said he wasn't shocked by it. So what were your conversations like with him?
No, I think as we talk about his evolution, he's becoming, you know, an NFL quarterback, and I think that part of it, that experience and that style of play, I think there's a few plays in the game that he wishes he had different reactions, and I think he refers to them as instincts and letting his instincts take over, right? And that is real. That is what he has special talents, he has special instincts, and I think at the same time when you want to throw a route, the one play that everyone kind of talks about, DJ kind of clapping on the backside or whatever because he was stuck on Moon, right? He wanted to throw that sail route to Moon, and Moon got disrupted because he was pressed, and so he was trying to give him an extra hitch. And then it just ended up taking a little bit too long. And so that's part of their evolution. Like, you know, you give him a hitch, you think he's going to win, you maybe give him one more, and then it's time to move on. And whether that's moving on in your progression or whether that's moving on with your feet, the protection was pretty good until he took a few too many hitches. And those are the types of plays that we got to continue to get better at. We work on them every single day here. We're working on pocket presence. We're working on those situations when it's time to go and when it's time to progress. So that's the evolution of a quarterback.
You very notably changed his footwork when you got here, and he is every once in a while just brought that up. You know, admitted it was a little uncomfortable, something he had to adjust to. When you hear him talk yesterday about wanting to play free, wanting to play his style, I mean, is that something you look at changing, or is that something you just can't do in the middle of the season?
No, I would never do that. I think if you look at Nate Peterman, he tried it, didn't like it, so he's right foot forward. So at the very beginning of the process, Justin loves it. He loves the timing, the rhythm of it all. So that part of it, I don't think there's any. That's not something that you reflect on and say, okay, that's the issue or whatever you want to say, because he loves the timing, the rhythm. His feet lead him to each and every progression through the throw. I think it's just the experience, it's the repetitions, and I think all that part of it, the robotic part of it that everyone kind of keeps using that phrase, is just playing the game and playing the situation and realizing the coverage, realizing the pressure, when it's time to get the ball out, when it's not time to get the ball, when it's time to use my feet, when it's not.
Justin's 24. He's the face of a charter franchise that has lost 12 games in a row. He's got a lot of demands on his plate, as you mentioned, trying to develop as a quarterback. How do you manage the psychological part of this, understanding that, you know, at times he's probably going to need to decompress with all that's coming at him?
No, I think your job as a coach is to connect to your players on a deeper level than anything that anybody in this room would know about. Relationship is the key to success. And I think if you don't establish that at the beginning and let that grow and let that trust grow, then times that appear to be chaotic to you aren't really chaotic to us. And I think there's a belief in the process and the philosophy and what Coach Flus is trying to get done, what Ryan's trying to get done, what we're trying to get done on offense. And there's a confidence in that room that I guess to your world would be shocked. And we believe in it and we stick together, and there's a brotherhood that we trusted more than anything else.
Do you appreciate the weight of what is on him at this stage?
Well, I appreciate the fact that, like, what we do for a living is important, and it affects so many people, right? And so I think the cool part about it is you have an individual that cares that much, as I do myself, and I think that's why we connect so well.
I don't know if you saw the clip from Bucs linebacker Levante David. He said that on that game deciding pick six, they all knew what was coming. I know you got limited options in that situation, back to back as you work, but what did you like about going back to that play after you had ran something similar previously?
Yeah, no, I think he was very specific and said it was the same formation, which it wasn't, but Shaq made an unbelievable play, right? If Jatari, he tried to throw him by and didn't, wasn't able to, but was it because you have an elite player that was clever enough to grab the inside of his collarbone and then make an amazing play? Lucas was gonna get on Levante, and then we're talking about a different story probably, but the fact is a great player made a great play. And you always want to go back and say you should have did this and you should have done that, right? And it didn't work, so yeah, I should have done something differently for sure. But that's the reality of what our job is and what we do.
Luke,
Ryan talked about,
Go ahead.
When most of your coaching experience in the NFL is with Aaron Rodgers, do you think that can maybe even subconsciously skew what you think a quarterback can do?
No, I've been coaching a long time, bunch of different levels, Division II to all the way up to get to coach an NFL MVP. Got to coach a different first round draft pick in the room too. And I know one played more than the other one, but that was part of the process too. And it's not like you coach any two people the same. So I think you say the same thing now. You coach Justin differently than you coach Tyson, than you coach Nate. So all that stuff is really important, that you connect to your players on an individual basis, not just quarterback room, but every single position.
So Ryan talked about how Justin's understanding how to be the athlete we know he is and use his skill players and trying to find that middle ground, and it's been a bit of a struggle for 2 games. Obviously, it's not what you guys wanted. Why did he need to take games to figure that out? Why wasn't it able to be kind of seen little bits and pieces of it in OTAs? Check out, is it really just you need that live pass rush to kind of see it come together?
Yeah, you can never, that's why people sit and argue whether or not preseason matters or not. The reality of preseason is nobody does anything. So there's really it's really like being in a 7-on-7 pass game anyway. So the reality of it is that when you get to play against defenses of the caliber that we just played, and then now this one that's given up 14 points one game and 9 the next game, like that's a different level of an opponent that is preparing for you at a different level. And so then they get specific to who you are as well. And so you can never underestimate or undervalue how much experience plays into this stuff. And like I said, we're excited to take the next step.
Just a follow up to my footwork question earlier. You said that Peterman didn't like it, right? So he has front foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
So just to clarify, your coaching philosophy on that is you still sort of leave it up to the quarterback and what they're comfortable with. So if Justin did say, I don't like this, you would be open to switching?
No, I believe in left foot forward. But if it stopped a player from feeling like they could play at the best level of their ability, then I would never force somebody into a technique or a style that I believed in that didn't match who they are or what they are. Yeah.
How similar would you say Justin's comments yesterday were to his comments after week 6 against the Commanders last year?
I'm sorry, can you just say that one more time?
How similar would you say Justin's comments were, or the sentiment behind Justin's comments yesterday were to his sentiments last year after week 6 against the Commanders, when he said he was tired of being close offensively?
Yeah, I don't think it has anything similar to that at all. I think you're just, like you said, Justin is a passionate guy. He wants to win as much as anybody in this building, and I think it's just we're on to the next step. We're on a new phase. We're in a new part of our partnership now than we were a year ago then too. So feel really confident about what we have going, and we had a really nice day of practice yesterday. We're looking forward to having a really good one again today.
You guys lost a coordinator this week. How is that affecting the team, whether that's the coaching staff and the players? And do you feel like as a team you guys have enough information about that situation?
I didn't hear the beginning of your question, I'm sorry.
You lost a coordinator, your
Okay,
defensive
yeah.
coordinator.
I got you, I'm sorry, I just didn't hear the beginning. Yeah, no, like I said, we come into work every single day, we self-reflect as an individual. Coach Flus talks about it all the time, that you lead by, leadership starts with yourself. So we lead by example on ourselves, and then we take it to the unit room. We stay focused on our task, and the guys have done a great job of sticking together through all this stuff, right? I'm not sitting there saying any of this stuff is easy for these guys to be able to deal with, but they've been pros. They've been doing a great job, and the coolest part about it is everyone's staying the same as far as staying true to who they are and what they believe in. So it's been great.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, appreciate it.
Afternoon. How you guys doing? Or guys and gals. Sorry. How's everyone doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm doing outstanding. Go ahead, guys. Shoot.
It's obviously been somewhat of a weird week. Ryan Poles was just down here talking about some of the adversity you guys are facing as a team. Just, can you give us an idea of what it's been like in that coaching room and how you guys have been handling this amidst losing your defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, me in general, business as usual. We're just operating, trying to get the guys to play at a high level. And Ryan has really already commented on the question you guys are asking or questions you guys may have. And I'm really not going to comment any further than what Ryan said as far as him addressing it, and our organization has spoken on it. But in terms of us on teams, we're just getting ready for a huge opportunity to play, obviously defending Super Bowl champs, and we're excited about the opportunity. So it's business as usual for us.
I'm assuming you struck up a friendship though with Alan Williams. So personally, what do you think of this, losing a friend and a coworker to resignation after a couple of weeks this year?
Yeah, I respect the question, and I understand why you're asking the question, but I'm not going to comment any further on anything that has to do with that situation. If you guys have any questions about Kansas City or any questions perhaps about Tampa last week that you guys want to address in the kicking game, I'm more than happy to go into that. But I understand why you're asking. You guys are doing your job, which you do a great job of all the time. So I understand why, but I'm not going to comment on that any further than the organization has.
Coach, the punter, for example, was a pretty good weapon for them in that game. On the last punt, ultimately led to the deciding drive of the game. I know you want to get your heels on the 10, right? And if it goes over, not catch it. But in that situation, is that a situation where Trent should probably try and field that one, even if it's a fair catch?
Well, I mean, that's a toughie. That's a tough situation, Herb. It's a good question you're asking. I usually give them a little bit more leeway than a 10. I won't say the yard line we give them, but I usually give them a little bit more leeway than a 10. But if a guy hits a great punt, then a guy hits a great punt. What you don't want to have there is somebody catch the ball inside the 3 or inside the 6 yard line there and have an issue. The smart thing about our returners right now, they're making really good decisions. I think Trent made an awesome decision. I know some people panicked on one of those where he went in and touched the ball after the other guy touched it. Yeah, but all you guys in here know the rules, but some people don't know, like, that's a first touch violation, and it allows the return team the opportunity to grab it and perhaps make a big play. You guys remember Dwayne Harris made a big play like that, took it like 100 and something yards, and all the guys know that. So I was really excited that he knew to make that decision in that split second. And it just goes to show that what I told you guys in the beginning about him, his study habits, all of that stuff he's doing well with that. And the other thing I'll say is this week we're facing an all-pro punter last year in the kid Townsend. I mean, he's an outstanding player. So we're looking forward to the challenge, and I know Trent's excited to punt against him as well. So it'll be good to see those guys kind of battle it out.
What kind of trickle down or relationship with Dave Toe overlaps, things you've learned over the years, is there when you go into this matchup against him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question, Coach. Tobe is, as you guys know, because some of you guys are here, Tobe is one of the best special teams coaches in the NFL. People know that, and he's done a great job over the years. So we've competed against each other a couple different times. Actually, one time in the Super Bowl, Ryan was on that team as well. So we've had some really good matchups. But other than, the coordinator aspect of it is really about the players. Again, he does a phenomenal job. And if anybody deserves to be a head coach in this league, I think he does. I'm not going to sit up here and say that he's not he's a phenomenal coach. All right. And they've had phenomenal units there. All right. And we are looking forward to the challenge going against them. And I always look forward to the challenge when we play the Chiefs, because you always want to measure yourself up against the best competition. And they right now are the standard in the AFC. So we're excited about the matchup. So appreciate the question.
Richard, as a staff, obviously you're down a man now. How do you as a staff kind of come together and handle what's adversity for you guys? And then how has Flus been through this?
Can you repeat the question?
the situation you're in, you're down a man on the staff now. How have you guys as a staff kind of handled what you're going through right now? And how has Flu's been in terms of dealing with this?
Yeah, I still have the same staff on special teams. I'm not down anyone as far as, so that's why I kind of didn't really understand the question you was asking. I guess you're in reference to the thing I said earlier that I really want going to address, but I can tell you with Flus, with myself, his communication has been no different. Everything's been awesome in terms of when we discuss the plan. He's very involved in special teams, which he always has been. He values it. So I can just speak to it from that standpoint. So I haven't seen any change, and I hope that answers your question. I don't really know what you're driving at, but I hope I helped you there. So
How do you feel with the team 0-2 right now to steer this thing back on track? What do you do to get through to players to let them know, hey, it's an 0-2 start, but there's still 15 games?
yeah, I think guys are resilient, and I think guys know that that it's a long season, and then we just have to go back to work. You know, sometimes it's going to work out good for you, and sometimes it's not going to work out good for you. But regardless, if we were 2-0 or 0-2, our mentality should be the same. We approach it as business as usual. We don't have highs, we don't have lows, we don't go up and down. I don't coach like that. Like our guys, I would hope our guys don't think that way. I mean, the guys in our room don't. They were locked in. They were focused today. They're excited about competing. They're excited about going to Kansas City. That's what I see in my meeting room.
Do you address any of the adversity? I mean, the general manager just came down here and said, that was the first thing he told us, that there's adversity right now. He's facing it head on. Is that something as a staff that you try to talk your guys through, or is it that it doesn't exist? The only thing right now is football.
Yeah, me personally, I focus on one thing. I focus on Kansas City because that's the next challenge that we have. And I think Ryan's spoken on that already. And really, more than anything, the way our organization addresses it, that's like more private, like what we do, like behind the scenes or how we address it. So, I mean, I'm not going to give any more detail on that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to give any more detail on that.
What do you like about what Dylan Cole did on the block?
On the block field goal from last week.
For Green to get through.
Yeah, Dylan has what we call that technique is basically a technique where he wants to use pad level and be pad under pad there. He is an explosive player. I mean, Dylan is a outstanding signing for us. He had a tackle in the game last week. Also, he was a huge part of reason why Sheen was able to get in there and block that kick and get skinny. So Dylan, I mean, if you go back and look at that play, you'll see how powerful he is. And that's against that's against a lineman. I mean, that's not against another linebacker. That's against a lineman. So for him to be able to have that explosion through his hips and create that crease and that separation in order for us to make a game-changing play is outstanding. The only thing I wish we would have scooped and scored it. So that's where we're trying to get to the next level. Obviously, the holder made a hell of a play tapping it back, but we're just looking for more. We're looking for more plays like that is what we're looking for.
With the play that happened on the block field goal in New England, the Brandon Schooler coming off the edge, why don't we see that often?
Yeah, you see it a lot on punt. It's creative. You don't see it a ton because they could also throw the ball in that situation if you have eligible tight end body types or anything on the edge there in the eligible positions, guys that can catch the ball. You may have to go back and look at that and see, did they have a tight end? Did they have a lineman? Was it down in distance, 4th and whatever or more, right? Because you don't want to do that on a short distance and you're offsides, Did they double count? Did they not double count? So those are different type of things of why you won't see it more because some people do those things to negate it, and then some people line up and kick. So I don't know what New England saw there. Didn't study either one of them in crossover this year so far. So, but it was a hell of a play. It was a heck of a play. I think they tried to do it again. Obviously, we watched all around the league tape, and we saw the second one really didn't time up as well. But the first one was awesome.
Richard, with Bayless back there on Sunday, were some of those kickoffs, like in terms of where they were and the angle of the kickoffs, made it tough for him to take them out?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kev. Hey, I think the second one he had there was one where there could have been some indecision in there because that one was, 66, 67 yards, like right inside the goal line where he could have done it, or he could have did it there, but he made an outstanding decision because that kicker kicks the ball 4-3, 4-4 hang times, and that's probably going to be tackled inside the 20, maybe inside the 15. But Velas, he did an outstanding job throughout the week, working throughout the week, and I'm very pleased with where he is right now. Some of the other ones, he just didn't have an opportunity because they were too far, but that one he did, and he made a hell of a decision not to put the offense in a bad situation right there.
What do you like about Velas as a gunner?
I like his power. I like his speed. I like the fact that he is very aggressive to the football, and he shows up. I mean, that kid's 4.31 on a bad day, 4.29 on a good day. So he shows up now, and if we can get him to keep going this way, then hopefully that'll translate into other areas of his game all across the board, and we're just all about making players better. So he's definitely getting better.
Thank you guys.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.